Connected conversations, practical strategies for thriving in a connected world. In today's world, businesses are told to compete, to win, to outmaneuver the rest. But the future doesn't belong to those who fight alone. It belongs to those who connect. At Connected Conversations, we cut through the noise to give you real strategies for building partnerships that drive growth. We bring you unfiltered conversations with leaders who have turned competition into collaboration, silos into synergy, and ideas into impact. Whether you're leading a company, scaling a business, or rethinking strategy, this podcast delivers the insights you need to stay ahead. Welcome to Connected Conversations, where strategy meets connection and success is built together.
We're on. Welcome back to Connected Conversations. Today with Sukie Kang and myself, Judith van Hoof from Connected Movement. How are you doing, Sukie?
I'm doing really well, thank you. Yes, summer's over.
Yes, it is.
Well, holidays are over anyway, and now it's time to just really head down, get into it.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
Yeah, September hitting me. The summer vacation, it's
Yes.
gone. It's months ago, feels like. Hey, today,
Yeah.
the topic, because for our listeners, it's about transformations. Why do they succeed and why do they fail? We're going to zoom into that because Sukie, as SVCT, doing also a lot of ASBC classes, you get so much input from your participants about where things get stuck, what helps and what doesn't help. And also from our experience as Connected Movement, we work with organizations every day at different points in their changes, their programs, their transformations, their wishes, their dreams, and sometimes also their despair. Transformations, that word, what does it trigger for you?
So I think that's a good place to start, really, because I think it's a bit of a bugbear of mine. I think the word transformation is really abused. Yeah, I think people are calling any old thing a transformation. If you look at the jobs boards, you'll see recruiters who'll say, "Looking for a transformation PM." And you're like, okay, let's ignore what John Cotter said about transformations and how transformations are never a project or a program. They're actually an ongoing thing.
Yep.
But anyway, and you look at the actual job description and really it's just a project manager.
Yes.
Right. And the transformation in inverted commas or in quotes is actually really just, it's a change program. Yeah. And we're going to upgrade a financial system, or we're going to change, one of our business systems to move from on-prem to using web APIs. Yeah, I get that, but I would still call that a bit of an upgrade. I mean, I think transformation, I'm very much on the side of, with the definition of John Cotter, which is, transformation is a fundamental change in how an organization gets stuff done. It's a transformative, well, obviously it's a transformative change, but it's a cultural change.
Yes.
As well, and everything from how demand comes in through to execution of that demand, it's fundamentally changed from how we used to do things before. What do you think? I mean,
I was also triggered by scale, indeed, but also about transformation. I feel that word. A project, I don't feel it. A transformation is indeed, it impacts people on all layers of your organization. It changes a mindset, a belief, behavior, culture. It's not just a program or a change in a tool or a process. It's really fundamental. It impacts people. So transformation for me, indeed, it's a big scale, but also it impacts the things you do every day. For me, that's really a transformation. So indeed, it's been misused, and I know evolution, revolution, transformation. And then it's, I don't know, a CRM implementation, which can also be a big change, but
yeah, absolutely. I think it's just become a bit of a buzzword, and it's a bit frustrating because, like I said, some of these so-called transformations are, I mean, they're just upgrades, and which are important, but it's not really the fundamental holistic change in an organization that we're really talking about. And indeed, that's what John Cotter refers to when he also describes transformation.
What are elements that you see if we're talking about transformations? What kind of things do you see? Is it only digital? Is it culture? What kind of transformations do you see?
Yeah, I mean, I think broadly you can put things into, I mean, there's different mental models, but one mental model may well be actually just, the people side, and then the process side, and then the work itself. Those three areas. In terms of the actual work, previously we may have done big projects which went on for several months or several years. Now we're looking to actually break that more into kind of iterative, continuous delivery. So we're taking smaller chunks of work, and obviously that's a difference in how we look at the work, how we engage on the work, how we contract and budget for the work. In the past, and in fact for several decades, we've had the two paradigms of fixed price or time and materials when it comes to contracting, and both of those paradigms don't really sit well with agile. So again, how do we budget for things? How do we package up the work? How do we define the work? And then coming back to process and people, ensuring that people are trained in this way of working, that they're coached in this new way of working, because things will be different. And then obviously the processes will change as well.
Yeah, so
We're all quite
yeah, you
familiar.
trigger me with, again, what we always say is the people process technology, where the people first helped, not hindered by processes and clarity there, and again supported, helped by technology, and not the other way around. And you trigger me with it's about the continuous work, breaking it down. It feels like transformation in the past was like a huge program, but it suggests it has a beginning and an end. And I think we're in a constant state of change, and we're just dealing with it and learning how to cope with that change with the inspect and adapt cycles quicker and quicker. So are we ever not transforming? It's a question that it comes
Exactly.
up to me.
And that's why transformation should never be a project or a program, because that implies it's done. It's a bit like saying continuous improvement is a project. And once we're done, hey, that's it, we've improved.
We have continuously improved. Period. Check.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I think let's be honest about what we mean by a transformation. Yeah. That said, coming back to hopefully now we're kind of all aligned on what we mean by this word and what it implies for an organization. We can come back to maybe the more fundamental question. What I think you posed a question: what makes a transformation succeed or fail?
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I can give you loads and loads
answer
of
for everything. No, it's 42.
yeah.
No.
I mean, I can give you obviously a bunch of my own experiences, but I'd like to ask you first. I mean, when you've engaged in I'm going to use the word a proper business transformation, immediately, what are the things that come into your head in terms of, okay, I need to watch out for this, or last time this happened, or what does it trigger initially in your head when somebody says, right, we're going to go through a business transformation?
Yeah. My immediate first thought is, all right, so what do we see people doing every day when we're successful? And what I mean by that is, in real life, in the work life, the work day, stuff happens. Stuff goes wrong. We don't meet our deadlines. Incidents happen. Those moments of truth, right? The moment when it gets a bit tough and there's tension on it. What do we want our people to do in that moment? And that means a whole variety of things, because that's the fundamental change, right? Then you know when you're successful because they take the ownership, they have the behavior we want with our cultural values, and they have the clarity in how to handle it. So, and the tooling to support. But they make the right choice. So how can we enable them to make the right choice there? And I think that's the final check. They made the right choice in that situation. That means our work here is done from a consultant point of view. And how do you do that? For me, what makes the transformation succeed is the clarity from the processes. Of course, you have to have stuff on paper, people also need to be able to understand, to read it, and not just be told how we're going to do it, and we just see where we end up. It makes people uncomfortable, feel
Yeah.
unsafe. So yes, of course, there is the structure, the way of working, KPIs. We have all those tools and methods, and it is an important part, but it's only a part. And then, yeah, and then the combination with the behavior. So, do people feel in danger if, like, oh my God, I have to escalate this? My stomach hurts because of it. So the behavior and culture, the ownership that every employee of the organization can take. So the clarity of the mission, the clarity of the processes, and the behavior and the feeling that it's safe to take that decision every day. I think for me, that's the whole picture. And that makes the transformation
Yeah.
succeed.
So you're sounds like you're referring to psychological safety there as well.
Yes.
So I'd like to just take a step back and thinking about some of the unfortunately thinking about a lot of the transformations I've been asked or I've been invited to take part in. When you go in there, more often than not, there is no clear vision. There is no strategy. There is no transformation vision. There is no transformation architecture at all. So, and what I mean by that is, you speak to some senior leaders, directors, board members, and they will articulate a vision or something that they're looking to do or some future reality. But you speak to one of their peers and they're saying something slightly different. And then sometimes their direct reports, they're not even getting the message and they're just like, we're just going to carry on as we've always carried on. So that clear vision, that a strategy in terms of what does that destination look like?
Yes.
We may disagree over which path to take, but we have to agree on the destination, the North Star, if you will. And even as I'm saying this, I still think maybe let's just pause on that. Let's just come back to, as Simon Sinek said, why.
Yeah, the why.
Are we all clear on the why? Why are we looking to change?
It has to be clear that awareness. Why are we doing this? Also, where are we going as an organization? If I step in or I open my laptop wherever I am, why? What do I add? What are we, the whole system, what are we working towards? And I think it's a very important question that you need to answer as leadership. You're the only one who can answer that for the whole organization. I forgot the name,
And
the submarine, turn the ship around. What was the name of the other?
David Marquet.
Yes, I love that part when he said, doesn't matter who I ask, the people, I don't know, operating the radar, the sonar, whatever you call it, or the people turning the screws in the machine room, they all know exactly what part they play and what the mission was. So they know now it's the time to be silent and not do my maintenance check. And then it's the appropriate time. So they were really, as a system, working together. And I love that part.
Yeah, which ties into what Cotter said about empowering employees to take action themselves without, in support of the mission. So yeah, why are we looking to change? And I think oftentimes this is something around competitive advantage. Yeah, and that's fundamentally what it's about. We might dress it up in different words, but it's about we are no longer competing in the way we once were. Maybe our competitors are executing in a much better way. Maybe our product, the way our products and services are being perceived by our customers. Maybe some of those metrics aren't going the way we wish. But as a result of whatever it might be, the business cannot continue working in that way. It's not sustainable. The status quo cannot persist.
So that's the burning platform. So you have
change.
clarity on vision. Where are we going as a company? But also the burning platform, why things need to go left, right, higher, lower, whatever it is. The clarity on the vision and purpose of the company is a big success factor. Burning platform, as you say.
Yeah.
What's on fire?
Yeah. And therefore that leads on to, we have as you mentioned at the start, the advanced SBC course. One of the really good artifacts that Scaled Agile has put forward, and I'm sure this is a variation on other things, but it's the transformation canvas.
Yes.
Now, the transformation canvas is essentially it's a way of getting everyone to align on what the North Star is and what the objectives of the transformation are. We have different views, we have different stakeholders, we have people from, and I hate this term, but I'm going to use it, and I'm going to put my fingers up. We have people from the business.
Yeah, like there are walls.
We have people from
yeah, really.
yeah. Yeah. We have people from from tech. We have people from the transformation office. We have all these different entities, and they all have in their own head a different idea of what they want to get out of this, what those outcomes should be. So the transformation canvas is a way that all of these different groups can put down what their transformation objectives are.
I love that exercise, by the way.
And
It opened my eyes. I'm like, yeah, we have to be very purposeful in our transformation, and that made it very explicit. So as a SBC or ASBC, as I am now, it made my my plan a lot sharper. That's nice. I liked it.
Yeah, and then we obviously will use OKRs in that. So we'll turn those transformation objectives from each of these different areas, each of these different entities. We'll put those into the OKR format, and then we're looking for that alignment. And essentially, the outcome of that session of completing that transformation canvas is all of us, no matter where we are in the business, all of us as leaders throughout the organization, we're all aligned on what the objective of the transformation is, and then we can start to move on to the next step, which is the communication. But I'll pause there for a second.
Yeah. We have some best practices or good practices, right, about what we see that really works. So the vision needs to be inspiring. I like it. I like to listen to that and feel like, oh wow, this is going to be great. So inspiring vision from leadership. Everybody knows what their purpose is in the organization. We have a burning platform, why we need to change. And actually that transformation canvas, our burning platform, but then in a nice canvas, is being aligned throughout all the change leaders, because you have different change leaders in your organization, and they know because we have aligned on this. So all success factors. And my point there is like, we're going from the start. And I was like, oh, at the finish, I want everybody to be able to take ownership, like you guys, like from the Cotter place, but it's also from the people side of change, right? Everybody knows, is able to, has the knowledge, has a reinforcement system in place, can do it, can have the good information available, but also can make the decisions every day that suits this model we chose, that suits the culture, the values. That would be great. That has also the aspects of we know what we want to do. The transformation canvas is aligned, and we also role model it. So that is, again, leadership, of course, needs to role model it first, but keep going at it. So the consistency of their behavior, it's not like you need to change. Good luck. We're watching you do it. No, it's all of us.
Right. Yeah. So now you've kind of touched it. Well, you've mentioned what I think is the number one reason, in my personal opinion, my professional opinion, based on all the stuff I've seen, the number one reason why transformations fail: leaders don't engage. They kind of say, you lot go off and do that transformation thing. We're just going to carry on doing what we've always done. They might give you buy-in, but they don't proactively engage. And I think that's the number one reason why transformations struggle with some of the organizations I've been in myself.
Yes.
Have you seen that?
Yes. I've seen the good examples and the not so good examples where there was a lot of room for improvement, as we say in a diplomatic way. It's not that there's no will or intention. Sometimes it's also like, yeah, it was not needed. Why should I do it? Or should I be on that stage? Can I just not disappear in the back? No, as a leader, it's you. You need to step up and you can do it. And people actually want you to do it. We also call that preferred sender. From the transformation team, people are not looking for the transformation team to tell them. They're looking for their leaders to tell them what's going to happen. And that's that safety part. You work with your manager, with the leaders for years and years. And then there's this project team, the transformation team there temporarily. And we just have to trust them that they're guiding us. No, I want to hear that from the leaders that I trust and I've known for years. So the preferred sender, that's you as a leader, period.
Yeah, absolutely. You said that quite often we are helping organizations transform because they have, a burning platform. That's what we call it. But that's obviously not always the case. I think, this is very much part of your wheelhouse. I think, with the impact of AI and new operating models that incorporate development and rapid prototyping based on AI, I think that's another scenario where you know leaders can turn around and think, well, actually, the new way of developing products and services requires us to actually change the way we are structured, to change the way we get stuff done. So they might not necessarily have a burning platform. They're just looking to change their operating model to fit essentially what the new world of engineering looks like today. And that's probably something that you're probably more familiar with.
Yeah, the developments here are crazy. Also in the pace, the speed of developments, experiments, new tools, new options every day. But I think it's an extension of what we already saw. The world is changing more rapidly, but also more impact. The changes are not small. It is really big topics. It's war with drones. It's everywhere around you. It's not always nice. I don't like reading the news lately, but it is a fact that we have to deal with. And then we have the people, process, technology. Well, the technology part went to the top and said, the big T, we're forcing you to take us into consideration. So every day you get inspired, yes, but also bombarded with all the tools and the updates. You're like, oh, I'm behind. Total FOMO here.
Mm.
And also in organizations, you see that. Do we have a right to exist? Do customers still see us as valuable, or are we replaced? Am I being replaced as an employee or my colleague, or what is going on? So it's disruptive. Um, and I think people need to take that into account. So what you see is an operating model that, again, to inspect and adapt quicker. You need to have that experimentation mindset and look at your processes. Okay, so we've been doing this for how many years? And this train hit us, the AI train. What does it bring? The opportunities, the threats, be open for it. And I think if you are an organization and you're looking at it, but you're like, well, this train will just pass me by, it's not true. It hits us all. It hits schools, hospitals, children, all the algorithms around us on social media. We are all impacted by AI. So don't hide, embrace it, and start experimenting. So yes, we are in a constant state of transformation. It feels like, oh, again a change and again a change. Jan Rotmans is a very nice a Dutch researcher and scientist, and he says maybe we're not in the era of transformation, but we're in a transformation of era. And I feel that there's a switch going in society, and I'm very
Mhm.
curious what the next era will be. Bit of a
Yeah.
philosophical zoom
Um,
out here.
yeah, no, indeed. Let me just bring you back. um, so yeah, no, absolutely right. And I, some of what I've been reading recently, and some of the speeches from some of the recent conferences as well, they all make the point that if you don't change your operating model to take out the waste, to take out the inefficiency, and all you are doing is just adding AI development to what you already do, you're going to end up scaling the inefficiency. You're going to end up
Same thing
scaling
as
the
ever.
waste that
Yep.
you already have.
Yep.
Yeah, so again, AI's, AI and the way for example, over the last few weeks, I have by myself with AI as my pair programmer, I have created so much good stuff by myself.
Yeah.
Whereas previously I would need a team of people to kind of prototype these things. Now, that's a fundamental change. Now, for some organizations now, that's going to mean, well, what does that mean for our engineering teams? What does that mean for how we actually scope work? I'm writing a blog at the moment on this new thing called spec-driven development, which is, oh, that's interesting, especially to us agilists.
Nice.
Oh, it's like, are we going back in time, or is that something new? But it's obviously what GitHub released recently. But that has a profound change on how engineering departments in particular, and I know I'm focusing on engineering, but obviously the impact is more profound than that, but how they get stuff done. So I think that is, again, another reason why operating models need to change. But, I'd like to just come back to some other key reasons why I think transformations struggle. And, I mentioned about the transformation canvas, and, we looked at how important that is for alignment, but we've kind of touched on the communication aspect. We need to communicate the vision, the why, the purpose of the transformation across the organization. As John Cotter said in his book, a couple of posters in the staff canteen and one or two emails, that's not enough.
No, and it needs
you can never over communicate.
exactly over communicate, but communication or inspiration, or it's not activation. So people need to be able to actually get into movement. So that means they have to be motivated. What's in it for them? Find that desire, and also enable them with the right knowledge and ability to actually do it. So it's that inspiration, awareness, clarity on the vision. Great. You can still walk out of the door without any change. You don't have to do anything if you're not activated. And I like the people side of change view on that. Also, like you mentioned books and methods, ProSci, the people side of change. I like that, the Edgar model. It's really, do you have the knowledge? Do you have the ability enabled to do it, but also the reinforcement in place? It's not a one-off. Are you constantly reinforced with the messages, the role model behavior? Are you able to continue this way of working? Do you have enough help, a community, or where you can ask questions? All those things you have to think about if you're doing the change management. Is how is the reinforcement in place, so that if we walk in 3 months later, a year later, it's still going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had written down in my notes here a failure to address talent and capabilities, and that's exactly it.
Yeah.
You remind me of this psychologist called Edgar Schein, a German psychologist, and he said that as part of any transformational change, humans tend to have two anxieties. They have learning anxiety and they have survival anxiety. And learning anxiety is, how will I be able to function or do my role post change? How can I do my job post change? And obviously training is a big part of that, and coaching is a big part of that, and we need to equip people with the skills to succeed. The other one is survival anxiety. Will I still have a job after this change? And I do find it a bit frustrating when sometimes organizations use an agile transformation as a guise to just lay loads of people off. And I have had people come up to me and say, I'd never heard of agile before, but I just know agile's the way that you lose your job. It's like, no.
Nice start of a
that's-
conversation. Yeah.
And that's because their only experience of agile is, oh yeah, and we're gonna get rid of loads of people as well.
Well, replace agile with AI,
my
and we're
word.
doing the same thing. So
Yeah,
it
right.
keeps repeating the same messages.
Yeah, so that addressing the survival anxiety and the learning anxiety, absolutely critical. And then I guess the final point really is, transformation and changing the way you work is a lot of work. Therefore, trying to get people to, saying to people that you're going to do your day job, but in addition to your day job, you need to do all of this change as well. No, forget it. People aren't going to do that. So we need to, if you think of a hockey stick, we are going to go through a bit of a period where things are going to slow down, and there's that old cliche, slow down to speed up.
Yep.
And that's exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to do the just like a hockey stick picture. We go through a period where our backlogs don't just contain customer demand. Our backlogs also contain work that's coming out of the transformation. Things that we need to do as well.
Yeah. So you give the
that way
space.
people don't burn out.
The backlog
Yeah.
is the method to give your teams and people space to actually work on this. It's not hidden. It's very transparent. You reserve the room, the time, the resourcing, budget, whatever it is. But it's work, so it's there. It's visible.
Work is work.
Yeah, exactly.
And all work goes in the backlog.
Yeah. So we have a lot of things we can talk about this. I love this topic. Maybe we should do a follow-up. We have transformations are big, impactful, success factors. We named a transformation canvas. We discussed leadership, vision, purpose, but then translated into for all employees as success factors. Role modeling.
Yeah.
And then we already said, and that's also a big reason why transformation fails, is that role modeling. Really be there as the preferred sender, as the trusted leader, be there on stage, be there every day to live through this transformation with your organization. Yeah, and we can talk about this. Yeah.
One of the most successful transformations, and actually one of the most enjoyable transformations I was part of, were a few years ago. An organization, and obviously I don't want to mention where they are or who they are because people easily be able to look on my
Yeah.
LinkedIn, and so I'm just going to say a great organization. And what happened was we had 3 of their change agents came onto one of our courses, did the SBC course, and then said, "Hey, we've been asked to make this make a change to our operating model based on lean and agile principles." And they had actually had a new CIO come in, and the CIO had come in from Travelport. Okay. And so he'd seen the benefits of a lean
From
agile
the
transformation.
movies. Yes.
And so these 3 said, right, can you come and support us? And we did that. And the first thing we did, the board, the CEO, the founder and CEO actually, and the CIO, the chief marketing officer, all of them, I remember doing the executive workshop with them, talking about the why, talking about what the possibilities are, getting their engagement, and that was really successful. Then they said, right, all of our direct reports across the business are going to be trained in this way of working. Every direct report. And then the communication was proactive. I remember walking into their offices, and sometimes in reception, you'd have all these kind of like just balloons saying, blah, 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 to do with the transformation. It's just always front and center. People are always like, okay, there's something going on. And there were drop-in clinics. There were just lots and lots of support for people. People are actually quite excited about the change, So we did a bunch of training. We had we did a bunch of coaching, and I mean, in terms of some of those key business outcomes, and this is a point I didn't make earlier, but any transformation needs to have that link to business outcomes. We need to show that the investment you are making in agile, in all the coaches, in all the tools, whatever it might be, that investment is translating into real tangible business outcomes. Otherwise, what are we doing? And that's exactly what happened with this organization. Profitability went up. They're a bit da, as they call it, improved. We got a glowing reference from the CIO and from the founder saying, just fantastic. And he ended up selling the business for a lot of money. I think we made the business a lot sharper.
Fantastic. I am in a transformation right now, and I think it's going to be one of the most successful I've been. Like the lagging and leading indicator we were talking about. A leading indicator for me is how serious is leadership taking this, but also the combination of structure and culture. And this is a really all-encompassing transformation. We're looking at culture, values, behaviors, next to the structure, the operating model. How does it work? What's the governance? What the performance indicators? All that. So it's not only good on paper, right? It's also very real for the people. And that whole story makes I'm very curious. I'm very excited to see what happens here, and I'm trusting in a good outcome. So let me update you on that the next time. But
Yeah,
we have
absolutely.
had some very nice key factors why transformations succeed and why they fail. Last words.
Well, I mean, I would just like to really get people who are listening to this to give their input. What are your views listening to this? What's your experience? Do you agree or disagree with what we've said? And we invite you to send your questions in either as a recording or as an email to podcast@connected-movement.com. podcast@connected-movement.com. I'll put the email address into the show notes anyway. But if you do have a question or a comment, if you're going to send a recording, keep it to under 2 minutes if you can, 90 seconds, and that'd be great. We'd like to engage with the community and get your views as well.
Yes, that's an open invitation. Would be great. We do this for the community. We are all professionals, also people in organizations that are going through a transformation right now. We're here to help. The comments we make about pitfalls and stuff, it's not meant as an accusation. It's really, please learn from our experience. We're here to help. Contact us. and lovely to talk to you again, Sukie.
You too. All right. I guess see you next
See you
time.
next time with Connected Conversations.
Yeah. Stay connected.